Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Tech in Chicago. I'm Colin Keeley and I interview Chicago's top founders and investors on this show. Today we have Aaron Dallek, the founder of Opternative on. They have developed the world's first online eye exam and just raised a $6 million Series A last month. In this episode, we talk about what raising money in the current somewhat challenging market was like and what other companies should be focusing on that are raising now. We also talk about his secrets to recruiting as a small company against the Googles and the Facebooks of the world that can offer more money. He has some tremendous advice, and I'm not at all surprised Opternative is doing as well as it is. Here's Aaron. Enjoy. All right, we have Aaron here today. Thanks so much for joining us today, Aaron.
Thank you.
For people that don't know, can you explain what Opternative is?
Yeah, Opternative has created the first online eye exam, and we've created essentially the new standard for how eye care is being delivered on a digital platform. And so you can get an eye exam just by using your computer and your smartphone.
So how's that work?
You can think of your computer as the digital eye chart and your smartphone as the tool which you use to respond to questions based on the images you see on the computer. And so you go onto opternative.com, you give us your phone number, and we send you a text message that turns your smartphone into remote control. So that controls the test from afar. We have you take off your glasses or contacts if you have them on, and we have you answer questions based on those images, and you go through that exam, and then at the end of the experience, you can get a prescription for glasses or contacts by paying $40 or $60, $40 for glasses or contacts and $60 for both. And the results are sent to an ophthalmologist who would review it and then issue you the prescription if it's appropriate.
So I know I used to have really terrible eyes. I got LASIK, so I don't have that problem anymore, but I used to have to go in once a year to get my eye exam, and they have this huge contraption. So how's your exam compared to that?
The Opternative exam is similar in that we are subjective refraction. So we ask you questions like, what do you see, or which character looks different? Just like they ask you in the doctor's office, which is better, one or two. But the way we are different is that we don't put lenses in front of your eyes like they do, because you don't have a big machine that's in front of your eyes that has a bunch of lenses in it at home. And so because of that, we've had to create a test that tests your vision without that. And so we've figured out a way to do that with just your computer and your smartphone.
Wow. How did you come up with this idea?
So Dr. Stephen Lee is my co-founder and an optometrist. And over 6 years ago, he had a patient in his office who had to come in regularly for visits. And when she was sitting in the chair, she asked the question, why can't I do this at home? And that really stuck with him. And for 3 years, he talked to a ton of people, and they said, don't waste your time, don't rock the boat. But then 3 years later, we met. And I'm a lifetime glasses and contact wearer, and we just hit it off. And so 3.5 years ago was the time that we met, and ever since then, we've tested over 1,500 patients in office to get it to the point where we could launch it. And then we launched it, and we are now available to offer exams in 33 states, and we are working to expand to more states.
How did you guys meet?
We actually met at a party. So a mutual friend's party, and our mutual friend's wife said that we should connect because he had a great idea, and I have done a number of startups. And so she thought it was a good idea for us to connect, and I agreed.
Very cool. So what is your backstory? What did you do before this?
This is my 7th company. I've done a number of companies, some of them startups, some of them small businesses. And I just have always been an entrepreneur, starting from my lemonade stand in 4th and 5th grade, which I don't count as one of my businesses, to computer consulting in high school, printer cartridge recycling company, which was ranked the 544th fastest growing company on the Inc. 5000 in 2011, and a number of other smaller startups that I've tried to do since then, including Planet Metrics, which was a VC-funded startup that I started out of college. And so I've just always been an entrepreneur. I watched my dad and my mom and my stepmom and even some of my aunts and uncles all be entrepreneurs, and I love being an entrepreneur. And so that's kind of where I started, and I continue to be one to this day.
What drew you to it? How'd you pick entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think it was just watching my whole family be an entrepreneur, seeing from my grandfather to my father to just my whole family. It was just always part of who I am, and it's a good fit for my personality.
So you're in 33 states right now. Are you bumping into regulatory issues? How come only 33?
Some states we're able to practice in that we're not practicing in. We're looking to recruit additional doctors in those states or license doctors who we are currently working with in those states. And then there's some states which have regulatory barriers that make it so we can't practice in those states.
Have you had to navigate any of those? Have you gotten into the states that wouldn't let you in initially?
We are not in some states that have regulatory issues, and we haven't changed any of the regulations. We're not big enough to lobby states to change their laws quite yet. That said, there is some outstanding legislation that's pending that tries to restrict our ophthalmologists from practicing the way that they see fit, and from using technology the way that they see fit for their patients. And we don't feel that that's appropriate, and so we are doing everything we can to stop those bills from passing.
So how has the product evolved from maybe what you had initially drawn in a napkin at a party?
Oh, the product has changed so many times. We started with just an idea, and we put a few things on paper and got a prototype. After a few weeks, we started testing it with real patients, bringing them in, doing the traditional refraction, as well as doing the new way, the Opternative refraction, and testing the two and comparing the two. And we just did that over and over and over and over again until we figured out ways to make it work and make it more accurate and more accurate. And we, like I said at the beginning, we tested over 1,500 patients in office, where we compared the traditional refraction to the Opternative refraction, to get it to the point where we felt comfortable launching it. And then since then, we've done many, many more refractions.
How did you get those first users? How do you bring those 1,500 people in the office?
We offered lots of free eye exams, and we got it through friends, family, through the startup community, everyone that we could. Our investors helped us, 1871, anywhere that we could. We tried to get as many people as we could to come to our office. We were at Catapult, and so we got a lot of people at Catapult were people who helped us out.
How are you finding users today? What are your biggest channels?
So our main channel is through our partnerships. So we work with online optical retailers who they sell glasses and contacts, and so those customers of theirs need prescriptions, and so they send them to us. We help them get a prescription if it's appropriate, and then we send them back to the retailer to get their glasses or contacts. We also do some direct-to-consumer marketing, as well as get a lot of organic traffic.
What are some of those partnerships? I know there's a lot of those online eyewear brands now.
Yeah, so we haven't publicly announced any of those partnerships.
Have you guys raised money yet?
Yeah, we just raised $6 million for our Series A, led by Jump Capital, as well as Pritzker Group and Tribeca Venture Partners, amongst others. And that's on top of the $3.5 million in seed funding that we raised previously.
How did you find the market today? I know it's a little turbulent at the moment.
Yeah, the fundraising market is definitely a lot tighter than it was even in the summer of last year and before. I think investors are sitting back a little bit, holding back a little bit, and looking for the cream of the crop, you might say. They're looking for companies that have efficient business models that can sustain themselves at some point. So it's not just growth for the sake of growth. So you're not going to just spend, money. You're not going to spend $1 to make 85 cents. I think that they're looking for companies that ultimately are good businesses. And I think we are that company. And so thus we got funded. But it's just, you're not going to see some of these companies that, you have to spend a lot of money to get user growth that ultimately doesn't turn into a solid business model.
And how many employees do you have now?
We're at 15 and growing.
And where are you guys located in Chicago?
We're in the West Loop.
It's a beautiful building. You guys just move in here?
Yeah, we did not just move in. We've been here over a year, and it is a very beautiful building. We love it. We have happy hours here every month or two, and we love having people here, and really happy about this office.
Very cool. How have you found hiring people in Chicago?
Hiring people in Chicago has been a little tough because it's a tight market. There's a lot of good companies here, and I think that finding great talent, there's a ton of it in Chicago, and I think it's about getting that talent to know who you are, and then to see the great value of what you're doing, and then to compete with some of the bigger companies that are out there that just are maybe a little bit more well known or a little bit more well funded. But that said, we have a great mission. And we have a great vision, and I think that we've actually found a lot of people who have come to us that have really just wanted to work here just because of what we're doing.
Do you have any tips or secrets for hiring maybe as a smaller company in Chicago?
Tips or secrets? I can't tell you that. If I told you that, then they wouldn't be now. Tips or secrets? I think that it's important to put your mission and your vision up front. I think that's what people are looking for when it comes to joining an organization that's on the smaller side of the startup world. They're looking to join a company that is going to be meaningful work for them. And even if you can't pay the salaries that other companies can pay, like an Apple or a Motorola or some, Google's who just opened up here in the West Loop. Ultimately, meaning is what matters, and professional development, having ability to help your employees develop professionally, and opportunity for growth. All of those things matter, and it's not just about ping pong tables and and kind of superficial perks, although having food in the fridge and things like that we have and a kegerator are always a plus. Those aren't the things that ultimately make the decision.
What's been the best advice you've received?
The best advice that I received or I give, I don't know who gave it to me, but I think the key thing as an entrepreneur is to really think about things one step at a time. And I think this is probably more like an old Chinese proverb or something like that, but a thousand mile journey starts one step at a time. And really when you're being an entrepreneur, sometimes even when things are not going as well, or when things are going really well, but it seems like you just have such a far way to go to get to where you want to be, it just requires you just kind of moving forward and taking the next best step after next best step is the way that I put it. And you can't know for sure if the direction you're heading today is the right direction, but you just have to kind of look around and say, you know, this is the best direction based on all the information that I have today, and take those steps confidently. And that's the way that I do it. And every time you kind of move forward, take a look around and see if the direction you're heading is still the right direction.
Do you have a favorite book?
Yeah, Guy Kowalski's Art of the Start is a great startup book.
Why do you say that?
It really goes through the different aspects of starting up a company and makes you think about the important pieces of what it takes to start up a company successfully. And you know, there's a lot of other books out there that kind of dig deeper into some of the more important pieces to being an entrepreneur, but this is a solid overall book for people who want to kind of start the entrepreneurial journey.
What's the vision for the long term? What's next for you guys?
The vision for the long term for Opternative is to create the global standard for how eye care is delivered, and to create a platform that can help deliver eye care in a digital format that is accessible and scalable around the world. And that is the ideal situation. That's the ideal goal and mission for Opternative. And it's going to take us some time to get there. We're not going global anytime soon. But that's where I see us going in the future.
Where can people find you in Opternative if they want to give it a shot?
They can go to www.opternative.com.
Big thank you to Aaron for coming on the show. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and review Tech in Chicago on iTunes. Those 5-star reviews help a lot. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Tech in Chicago on Twitter. Thanks.